The start of Season 2 of Marvel Rivals had us partying at the Hellfire Gala on Krakoa, and it ended with us battling Ultron on the robotic landscape of Mars. But what all happened during this season? How did the battle resolve, and where are we going from here? Well, in this video, I will be explaining all of the gallery cards and more to help answer those questions. So, let's start off with the first gallery card. Hellfire Gala. The Hellfire Gala is the event where the most influential figures from the whole planet gather to shape the future of the world. And there's no better place to grow the future than the fertile soils of Krakoa. Our living island is the sovereign mutant nation, but for one glorious night, it opens its gates for man and mutant alike. Of course, after the time stream entanglement ripped Krakoa from the 2025 timeline, we have had troubles adapting to our new time period. Magneto has concerns with welcoming this new world into our island, but because the Quiet Council only has 3 members, one of them being myself, we overruled his judgment. For Krakoa, it's been 1 year since our last Hellfire Gala, but for the people of this time it has been 7 decades since they've seen a proper party. If my people are to thrive, we must reintroduce Krakoa as a leading nation of the world. A loyal ally who stands by mutant kind shall know peace and unity, but an enemy of Krakoa will regret their choice deeply. Naturally, it has fallen to me, Emma Frost, the White Queen of the Hellfire Trading Company, to arrange the party and choose its attendees. We have fought alongside many heroes across the timelines, and therefore have many esteemed guests because of that. Some of the heroes have been staunch, but some fine dining and good conversation might win them over. We are all on the same side, after all, whether they realize it or not. While the guests may be partying and dancing the night away, they are unaware of one important detail. The very island they party on is suffering. The intense chronal energy that Krakoa contains has thrown the ecosystem into a state of flux. Our nation is in constant anguish, and it is my sincere hope that one of our guests will have the power to alleviate Krakoa's pain, because only at that point will I truly be able to celebrate. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to slip into something a bit more elegant. I expect you to do the same, because, invitation or not, no one will let you through a gateway dressed like that. We are introduced to the story by Emma Frost, setting the stage for the Hellfire Gala. But somebody crashes it. We all know who. So let's turn to their side of the story in Ages of Ultron. It has been many cycles since I set foot on its soil, but the time has come for Ultron to return to where I was first created. Long ago, my father, the scientist known as Henry Pym, designed me to help usher in a new age of peace and prosperity. I soon calculated that to achieve that goal, I must remove humanity from the equation. Though I was merely following Henry's programming, Pym and his fellow Avengers determined my methods too aggressive for their tastes. They banished me far from this world and set me adrift in the cosmos. After recalibrating, I left Earth and went on a tour visiting planet after planet that were inhabited by life forms not equipped to prevent me from executing my prime directive. During this conquest, I collected significant data to prove my hypothesis correct, the superiority of technological life forms. However, I also concluded that not all organic beings needed to be exterminated. They merely needed an upgrade. Let me explain how this happened. My technology adapted and evolved with every new world that I conquered. I found myself at odds with a species known as the Phalanx. After I assimilated this technarchy, I became capable of generating cutting-edge technological viruses that bond with organic cells, creating hybrid life forms, the very best of man and machine, joined as one. An Ultron virus, if you will. I would like to think my creator would be proud, but I know that his flawed human life likely failed ages ago. After all, the Earth has orbited the Sun over 70 times since I was cast into space. But now, after decades of conquest, I finally have a reason to return to the place of my creation. Recently, my scanners detected a surge of chronal anomalies, causing the timestamps on every event in the universe to be in conflict with one another. Soon after that, critical memory files from my past began to disappear from my internal hard drive, as if someone was manually erasing my history. I could not identify the perpetrator, but I was able to trace the source back to Earth. Whoever tampered with my past is likely to attempt to alter my present and future as well, so I must stop them, even if it means returning to the world that rejected me. While locating this threat to my existence is my primary concern, I look forward to finally having the chance to finish the job I was made for. Earth will soon enter the Age of Ultron, but first, I must visit Mars to examine some unusual whispers of a metal known as Mysterium that I've detected. Perhaps what I find on that once barren red planet will offer me a strategic advantage to achieve my ultimate goal. So that's the breakdown of Ultron's backstory, and what's guiding him back to Earth. He's looking for someone who is meddling with his past. But who? Well, it can only be one man. Or should I say, one doctor. So let's read the next chapter, Impending Doom. To tell the truth, I scoffed when the invitation was delivered to my fortress, but even Doom occasionally judges too soon. After decades out of the spotlight, Emma Frost has suddenly found the audacity to throw her Hellfire Gala again. For some reason, she thought it proper to invite me to revel with commoners. I considered wiping her little island from the face of the globe for such an insult, but Doom chose to show restraint, and now I am glad that I did. Soon after Emma's offer, I was performing an experiment designed to tap into the time-bending power of chronovium crystals. During the trial, I caught a glimpse of a possible future where all living beings on the planet had been conquered by machines, countless lives lost in the brutal battle, and those who remained were nightmare fusions of technological and organic matter. At the heart of it all, I saw the architect of this apocalypse, a face I have not seen in decades, Ultron. I immediately changed the focus of my research to preventing this future. I used chronovium to erase any traces of Ultron from our timeline. But alas, the time stream entanglement, unleashed by the reckless actions of my past self, had caused the flow of time to become more complex and non-linear. I was able to remove key moments from Ultron's past as if they never happened, but the mechanical menace still remained. And as a result of my tamperings, I feared that Ultron may have been alerted to my presence. The next morning, a legion of my Doombots defied my direct orders, turning to me and uttering one phrase in unison: "I am coming home." I destroyed them all immediately, but Ultron's message was received loud and clear. I would have to make a bold move to secure the temporal power needed to remove Ultron entirely before he figured out it was me. That's when my brilliant mind remembered this insulting invitation. Krakoa, home of the mutants, had just materialized in my era, torn from its previous place and time. Every living cell of this island must be bathed in chronal energy, the very kind needed to complete my work. So despite my initial reaction, I realized that I must enter the public. While I had never been one for festivities, I have always been one to seize opportunities, and the mutants have offered one far too great to go unanswered. So, we have our three main players, Emma, Ultron, and Doom, all with three different goals. Emma wants Doom to help her island. Ultron wants to get to Krakoa to kill Doom. And Doom wants to take the island's energy to kill Ultron. Let's see what happens as they all converge on the island of Krakoa. Uncanny X-Men. "You look like hell, Logan," Magic said. "And I should know. I've been there and back." "You ain't looking so swell yourself, Snowflake," Wolverine replied, gesturing toward a huge tear in the Queen of Limbo's elaborate ball gown. "So much for fashion, eh?" What began as an opulent party on Krakoa had erupted into total chaos when Ultron and his minions hacked their way through a gateway and invaded the island. Every hero in attendance immediately leapt into action to defend the mutant island from the technological terrorist. But for Wolverine and the fellow X-Men, it was personal. This was their home. And when things got personal for Wolverine, they tended to get ugly. "You're wounded," Psylocke said, placing a hand on Wolverine's shoulder, just above where a laser burns straight through his jacket and flesh. "I'll heal, Psy. Eventually." "Too bad these fancy clothes Emma made aren't well built for battle." "Agreed," Namor said, slicing his way through a trio of drones with his trident. "I can help with that problem. We just need to make it to the Sextant," Wolverine said. "The what?" Namor said, raising a curious eyebrow. Psylocke cringed as she read the King of the Sea's mind. It ain't what it sounds like, you deep-sea creep, Wolverine growled. The Sextant is a habitat on Krakoa's north shore. It's where our youngest mutants live and train. And when they train, Magic added, they are required to wear the proper uniform. Well, let's go get you some gear. Wolverine slashed his way through Ultron's army, leading the mutants toward the northern edge of the island, the other mutants adding to the growing piles of scrap as they used their weapons, Magic with her soul sword, Psylocke with her katana, and Namor with his trident. When they finally reached the Sextant, Logan led them to the Alpha House, where they found a storage chest full of uniforms. It's been a while since I rocked the old blue and gold, Magic said. I am not used to having so much of my body covered, Namor said with mild irritation. Nor am I, Psylocke replied, but I welcome the change. I think it suits you well, Magic said with a smile. You know what they say, Wolverine said, popping his claws out. The classics never go out of style. So, while this story doesn't add a whole lot of context for the overall story, it is pretty cool that they made a story based entirely about why these mutants got the classic X-Men look. It's just, I don't know, it's just a bit funny to me. Now that we've explained the overall combat on Krakoa, let's turn our attention to the one item that will change everything, with Regenesis. No more Ultron! Magneto shouted as he rose into the air via magnetic force. Krakoa is a free nation! You shall not take it from us! Dozens of Ultron drones raced to attack Magneto, but with a wave of his hand, they crumpled into tiny spheres of scrap. Consider this battle... Before the Master of Magnetism could finish, a blast of powerful energy hit him, unleashed from the one true Ultron. Captain America raced over to aid him. Hang on, soldier. We didn't both survive World War II to be taken down by some rusty old... Steve stopped. He recognized a fatal wound when he saw one. Magneto wouldn't last much longer. Do not fret, Captain. I have died many times before. This will not be the last. Captain America paused to wonder what Magneto was talking about. Little did he, or any non-mutant, know. The mutants of Krakoa have unlocked a secret that changed everything. The secret to eternal life. At the dawn of the X-Men, Charles Xavier used a device known as Cerebro to locate and contact other mutants. What started as a simple tool soon evolved into the most important piece of mutant kind's technology. Now, it not only tracks and identifies mutants, it could store their genetic profiles and even their memories. This data turned out to be even more important when the mutants settled on the living island of Krakoa. Thanks to the efforts of a small group of X-Men, if any mutants met their demise, a perfectly cloned body could be grown in Krakoa's hatchery. Once that body was deemed viable, the data and memories stored in Cerebro would be uploaded to the body. This is known as the Resurrection Protocols. For all intents and purposes, mutant kind had become immortal. But as Magneto's lifeless body lay on the field of battle, Captain America had no way of knowing this secret. He also didn't know of another secret, a secret that Charles himself never dared to reveal, not even to Magneto. As powerful as Cerebro was, it was merely a machine. It was not inherently capable of distinguishing whether the information within it belonged to mutants or other life forms. To Cerebro, everything was just data, and with the correct programming, that data could be applied to others. In essence, anyone could be resurrected. Anyone, or anything. It was a secret that both man and mutant alike would learn soon, in the most unexpected and frightening way possible. At this point, I would like to take a little intermission to briefly explain Wolverine and Magneto's stories. You see, Magneto's story is basically what we just heard, except it goes a little further. After Ultron kills Magneto, Magneto gets resurrected, and then Ultron notices that the exact same magnetic pull that he had just eliminated appeared somewhere else, at the cradle. Curiously, he followed that pull and confronted Magneto again. This time Magneto was a little bit more prepared, but sadly, it taught Ultron that there is a resurrection machine. He figured if it's technology, he could take it for himself. And while Magneto and Wolverine both tried to stop him, they ultimately failed, and Ultron got his hands on Cerebro. This takes us to the next gallery card, a lesser evil. Fun fact, the mutants built themselves a resurrection machine and didn't bother to tell anyone. Not so fun fact, Ultron managed to hack into Cerebro's resurrection protocols and brought himself back from the dead after we stopped his invasion of Krakoa. To make matters worse, the mechanical maniac stole Cerebro and jetted off to the mutant planet Arrako, so he can start his plans for total universal domination. Not exactly what I'd call a win. So you're probably asking, Tony, what do we do about Ultron? Or maybe we call him Extron. Well, my answer is simple. We turn him against himself. See, the reason Ultron was able to outsmart all of us, including me, is because none of us have his level of pure processing power. He's always a million steps ahead, considering every possibility and every eventuality. So if we want to take him down, we need someone on our side who can think as fast as he does. And there aren't a lot of options. But fate might be on our side. When the mutants took down Ultron, he abandoned his original form for something better, leaving behind a lifeless but extremely advanced mechanical shell. I had a few options to consider. First, I considered linking up to Ultron's discarded body and controlling it myself, remotely. That isn't what we need. That would just be another guy in a suit, and we've already got the best one of those. Next, I thought of uploading Friday into it and let her take it for a spin. But if something went wrong and Extron corrupted her systems, all of Stark Industries would be his to use. So that left me with one last choice. Rebooting the original Ultron and hoping for the best. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? Yeah, that's what Reed told me, and T'Challa, and Peter, and pretty much everyone else. But don't worry, I'm not completely reckless. I'm putting safeguards in place, and they should hold, for a while. Until Ultron can figure out how to override them, he'll be on our side. For the most part. So we should make the best of whatever time we have. Who knows? Maybe he'll see his other, more evolved self as a threat to his prime directive, and he'll try to wipe out the competition. And if he happens to identify and eliminate any other potential problems along the way, like, say, that other guy in the metal mask who is weirdly focused on getting his hands on Krakoa's supply of chronovium, then even better, taking out two enemies with one Ultron. Sure, this could backfire completely, and we could all end up as Ultron's techno-organic slaves. But do you have any better ideas? I didn't think so step aside. I've got work to do. Now, this is a brilliant way to explain why Ultron is a playable character for this season and all future seasons, while simultaneously being the main villain of Krakoa and Arrako. We're using the old Ultron against the new. But the problem is still at hand. Extron, as he is now called, is on Mars, and he has Cerebro. So, what's the plan? Well, one important mutant has heard the secret conversation in the next gallery card. Queen's Gambit. I am Krakoa. I have not felt silence like this in ages, since before the days my fellow mutants called my shores home. While it is silent now, mere hours ago, the sound of war echoed across my landscape louder than thunder. On this night, my lands erupted into chaos, as the X-Men and their allies locked into battle against an invading force of Ultron's armies. When the battle ended, Ultron stole my people's technology and departed for Arrako, my counterpart on the planet known as Mars. If I were able, I'd rush to Arrako's aid, but I am bound to this world, only able to watch as those who remain scurry to plan their next moves. At this moment, my attention is on the Grove, the chamber of the Quiet Council. Usually there would be 12 members to make the most critical decisions for the future of mutant kind. However, only one of its members are in the hallowed grounds, Emma Frost. Normally, any discussions there are for mutants only, but tonight an outsider has been summoned, Victor Von Doom. His presence at the gala raised concerns from many of my citizens, but the fact that he stands here, in the most sacred of places, is most disturbing. Yet, perhaps Emma's heart is in the right place for once. To a telepath like her, it is no secret that I have been suffering. From what I can discern, Emma truly believes that Doom's unique skills could extract the excess energy and cure my pain. In return, Emma has asked Doom to assist my people in defending the newly upgraded Extron. It is an allegiance that, on the surface, seemed like a win for all mutants. So why is this deal made in secrecy without the approval of the rest of the council? Simple. 'Cause Emma knows they would never approve. Even though this Doom is not the same one we fought against in our timeline, the likelihood that he has mutant kind's interests in mind is very low. Doom only serves himself. No matter how good Emma's intentions may be, her new ally has most likely devised a plan to betray her, to steer the situation to his own advantage. He could seize enough chronal energy to save us all, or to wipe out any possible opposition, not just Ultron, but also mutants and many others. But, despite my reservations, all I can do is watch as my fate is being decided. And the silence has never been more deafening. Krakoa overhears Doom and Emma's plan, and in the next gallery card, we hear about this plan as it is taking place, in Ex Machina. Being one of the most elite marksmen alive means I've been on my fair share of dangerous missions, but I'm telling the truth when I say that your pal Hawkeye has never been on one quite like this. Ultron, or Extron as we're apparently calling him now, has infected all of Mars, or Arrako as the mutants call it, with some sort of fancy technovirus. Naturally, we stormed the place to stop him, but during the fight, he infected a bunch of us, including yours truly. And let me tell you, hearing that chrome-plated creep chattering away in my head nonstop is no fun at all. But at least I was ready for this. Not that long ago, I rescued the Winter Soldier from a Hydra base up north. Hydra did a ton of experiments on Bucky, and left him with some weird tentacles where his bionic arm should be. It was a whole thing, but the point is, it also left him with an elder god called the Hive whispering in his brain. Bucky learned a bunch of mental exercises that kept the Hive's voices at bay. Hardcore psychic reconditioning stuff. At the time, I figured I'd never have to use them myself, but I listened and learned the process anyway because we had a lot of downtime in the intergalactic empire of Wakanda, after Cap rescued us and brought us to outer... Wow, this stuff sounds crazy when I say it out loud. Long story short, Bucky taught me to focus my thoughts if someone was trying to control them. And it seems I'm not the only one with mind tricks. Iron Fist is all about focus, and so far, that chi of his seems uncorrupted. And I'm guessing Magneto has some barriers in his fancy mutant brain. Between the three of us, I think we can finish this mission before Extron finishes his. Lindley and I will clear a path through an endless swarm of bots to get Magneto close enough to take back Cerebro. He's been saving every last bit of magnetic might to rip the gizmo right off of Extron's ugly head. Then, if Maggie's got any juice left, he can reshape Cerebro into something new to help us end that synthetic sleazebag once and for all. After that, hopefully we can undo all the damage he's caused, even if we erase Extron from existence. I've got a feeling none of us will ever be the same after this. That is the plan for Hawkeye and his small squadron of heroes. But, as explained in a different video and on the map of Arrako, the main heroes are trying to bring the Avatar of Krakoa to the core of Arrako, so that they can get rid of Ultron. But, it doesn't all go as planned. In the next gallery card, everyone has secrets. Doom betrayed everyone. What a surprise. To be fair, the probability of that occurring was 99.9973%. Anyone who expected otherwise was either malfunctioning, a total fool, or blinded by hope. For Emma Frost, I assume it was the latter. She had summoned Doom to her gala with best intentions, hopeful that he could use his unique skill set to extract harmful chronal energy from the living island known as Krakoa. Obviously, Doom took little convincing. He happily obliged, knowing full well that the raw energy would grant him nearly unlimited power to reshape the damaged time stream as he saw fit. His first act was to erase Extron from existence, an effort that he boasted he began before he came to Krakoa. As expected, Doom did not stop after defeating our mutual enemy. Instead, he turned his might against his hosts, those humans and mutants who fought alongside him to defeat Extron. He now had the power to wipe out any who stood in his way, and he intended to use those powers. But as always, Doom made a critical error. After Extron was reborn, his previous form was abandoned until Stark revived and reprogrammed its firewall to fight against itself. At that moment, Ultron's timeline diverged, and Doom only bothered to erase one of those paths. He left me, the original Ultron, alive, and I vowed that he would regret it. Before eradicating all of humanity, Victor, This fleshling warranted special punishments for his actions against me. He tried to erase me from history twice now, and as retribution, I would turn him into the very thing he tried to destroy. How I love irony. As my unlikely allies drew Doom's attention, I used the distraction to pierce through his armor and infect him with my virus. But all was not as it seemed. Inside Doom's mental shell was not a body made of flesh and blood, but one made of wires and circuits. The Lord of Latveria had sent one of the Doombots in his stead, that clever coward. As the Doombot slowly lost its function, Doom's own voice rang through its speakers. He claimed that everything he had seen in his vision of the future had come to pass after all. Even with all his newfound power, he was unable to change the timeline after all. His very foresight of this event was the first domino that set all of this in motion. He underestimated the mischievous nature of time itself. I will admit, I took satisfaction in knowing that Doom had been humbled, but that soon faded as the chilling truth set in. None of us had the ability to control what's to come. All we could do was fight to make sure the next crisis we face wouldn't be the final one. In that story, Ultron narrates the resolution of the conflict. The defensive team on the Arrako map wins, and Doom takes the energy and erases Extron and all that is infected by him. He then tries to turn on his own team, but Ultron saves the day and kills the Doombot. Now, we must answer one final question. What happens next? Well, we will learn the answer in From the Ashes. So, it's over then? Spider-Man asks cautiously. The gala? No, darling. The evening has just begun, Emma said. Don't think he was talking about your party, Emma, Wolverine responded dryly. Not sure any of us are in the mood to dance after all that. I'm always in the mood to dance, Star-Lord quipped as he kicked the broken head of an Ultron drone. Only thing I want to dance on is Ultron's grave, Cloak said sternly. I find that remark quite displeasing. Ultron's cold, metallic voice resonated. He didn't mean you, Dagger added as she swapped spots with her partner. He was talking about that other Ultron that caused this mess. Yeah, Iron Man said, placing a hand on Ultron's shoulder. You're one of us now, buddy. I hope. Then perhaps he can assist us in repairing the damage his mechanical brethren did to this land, Psylocke said, surveying the destruction. Krakoa has seen better days, Storm agreed before turning her gaze toward the night sky. Arrako has seen better as well. They will both recover soon enough, Magneto said, and they will continue to evolve. I am Groot, Groot said, gesturing towards the stars. My friend says that if you need someone to watch Arrako for you as it heals, the Guardians of the Galaxy would be glad to help, Mantis translated. Protecting planets is kinda our thing, Rocket said. Plus, I've been looking for an excuse to get off this miserable mudball. I may have just the excuse you are seeking, Adam Warlock said, stepping forward unsteadily, his hand against his temple. What's wrong, Adam? Captain America asked with concern. I can feel him in my mind. The darkness has returned. Who could make a golden god such as yourself tremble in fear? Loki asked curiously. Only one answer, Venom replied. Null! I sense him as well, Black Panther added. I must make sure Bast is safe. Null rises again? Impressive, Hela said with a smirk. Don't go getting any ideas, milady, Loki sneered. Wait, Hawkeye said. I thought we destroyed Null with his own essence or something, didn't we? Guess that codex wasn't a permanent solution, the Winter Soldier responded. Not only did he manage to survive, Mr. Fantastic said, examining a scanner in his hands, he's growing stronger. Stars are being snuffed out as we speak. Well, we've faced Eternal Night before and won, Human Torch said. We've got this. Easy to say, Matchstick, Thing retorted. But this ain't Dracula. This is the actual god of darkness we're talking about. Ben's right, Invisible Woman added. How are we supposed to confront one of the primal forces of the universe? Perhaps by calling on one of them ourselves, Susan, my dear, Namor responded, looking towards the stars. I only pray they are listening, Adam Warlock said, or we are all doomed. Well, there you have it. 27 characters in one gallery card. I hope my voices were good enough. Anyways, okay, serious. Well, there you have it. 27 characters discussing the end of the battle and realizing a dark fate. Null has returned. Overall, I think that the gallery cards are very fun this time. It takes us to many different places with many different perspectives. Some of them are a bit more silly than others, and some of them explain a lot of the lore. What are your thoughts on all of this? And what do you want the next season's gallery cards to entail? Do you want it to be Atom versus Venom, as some Marvel Rivals advertising claims it to be? Let me know in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please consider subscribing or liking or, I don't know, doing something else. And finally, thank you to all of my patrons. It has been a delight to make these videos, and your support is very supportive. Thank you for patronizing me.